Good morning. This is Dr. Brandy Marks, Biblical Licensed Mental Health Counselor in Vancouver, Washington. Today we're looking at the third part of the Biblical Life Skills, and this is the first of the action journey. And we're doing Devoted to God and Discipline. Leaving the past. Well, you got to leave the past in the past. You come to know yourself a little better and how sin managed into your life, as well as how to leave that sinful way of life. You created a vision, came to understand your beliefs, and committed to God's will, and learning to communicate that through your attitude, behavior, and how you speak, communicate. Now you achieve through discipline of pretty much those same things. Your mind, your attitude, your actions, the way you behave towards yourself and other people, and your speech, spoken words or communication, because building bridges to success requires discipline and time, as well as relying on the Lord. And we have to discipline ourselves to do that often as well. But if you love to sleep, you will become poor. Use your time working and you will prosper. Well, if you use your time wisely with anything, you will prosper instead of just laying around doing nothing. Now, there's a time and a place for nothing when you're ill or injured, of course. But in the meantime, when you set out and devote your life to God and doing the best that you can do to achieve, we have to create a time for a good many things in our life. Time for God, number one. Time for our own self and our spouse or partner. Time for our immediate family, and then the extended family, in-laws. Finally, we have time for our career and social network, friends, and then time to celebrate accomplishments. Because as we saw in creation, the God at the end of each day, starting with day 3, I believe, he said, "It is very good," or good, as he looked back over his creation. And we must do the same thing too. This helps to keep us motivated. We can look back and say, yeah, I did a good job today. Discipline enables us to align our attitude. Our attitude is more important than your past, your education, bankroll, gain, pain, what other people think of you or say about you, or your circumstances, or even your position in life. If you have a bad attitude, much better to have an attitude of gratitude. Attitude is what keeps you going or can slow down your progress until you're at a complete standstill, anxious, fearful, and depressed. When your attitude is right, there's no barrier, no valley too deep, no mountain too high, no dream too extreme, no challenge too great for you to surmount. With the right kind of attitude, you can do almost anything. We have to have a different mindset, though, which is to have the mind of Christ. Live together in peace with each other as much as is possible within each of us. Don't be proud, but be willing to be friends with those not as important to others, perhaps. Don't think you're smarter or better than anyone else. See yourself on equal terms with everyone. All patience and encouragement comes from God, so pray to him and trust that he will agree with each other as Jesus wants you to be ministers of reconciliation, aligning with other people, helping one another in love. Now, believers' behavior, well, first, love God above all else, being selfless, giving to others. Have undying faith in God that never wavers, because faith that's tossed about by the winds of the sea, like a sea waves, you get nowhere fast. Love others as yourself, even your enemies, Jesus said. Do good to those who hate you. Do good, that means not to have more than others, of course, but because you want to do good. And so you glorify God by doing good or random acts of kindness, because you're his children and you want to please God more than the world. Be bold, not brash. Step out into life boldly, but not brashly. It's not a time for pride and arrogance, but confidence as you boldly step out, Go before the throne of grace and ask God for your needs. Now, if you don't decide how you will spend your time, then others will decide for you. You have to decide how you're going to live your day and not be pushed around by all the people in your life. Be careful how to live wisely, not like fools, and use every opportunity you have for doing good. So don't waste your time on nonsense, okay? But learn what the Lord wants you to do. That requires reading the scriptures and praying, speaking with others, getting wise counsel. Then plan your day so you achieve your goals. Behave wisely. Learn to live on less than what you make and invest the difference. It really makes a huge difference. A budget tells your money where it needs to go and not later on wondering where it all went because you spent it unwisely. The house of the wise has choice food and oil, but the foolish people, they devour all they have and there's nothing left over. You know, the Proverbs, I think it is, says, consider the ant who works to store up for the winter, the lean months. Okay, bodily concerns. Keep your health means discipline the kind and amount of food you eat. Exercise, maybe with a simple daily walk. Just some, stretching and relaxation exercises. It doesn't have to be a huge, 5-mile run every day. It can be simple stuff. This way you accomplish more and enjoy life in the doing. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which you were given from God. Now I need to shut my door. My birds are waking up. So glorify God in your body and spirit, both of which are God's. Communication. Let the words of my mouth and meditations of my heart, what I think on, be acceptable in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer, our foundation. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and settings of silver. You don't have to be a world-class genius to know what that means. For by your words you are justified, and by your words you will also be condemned for saying the wrong things, being harsh and uncaring and unloving. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, only what is good for building others up as fits the occasion, so it gives grace to those who hear. If you're at a party, you behave one way respectfully. If you're at a funeral, you behave totally different. Okay. Master your mood. Don't let your emotions master you. Take over, but think before you open your mouth. The emotionally mature person does right even when they don't feel like it. A person without self-control is like a city with broken walls. Your enemies can come in and just run right over you. We learn patience through experience, of course, but we're at our best when we ignore insults. And as Jesus said, do good to those who spitefully misuse you and say terrible things about you. Your reward will be better than theirs, certainly. Develop discipline in your life. Discipline of the body, mind, communication, and emotions helps to establish a firm pattern for what will decide your life tomorrow and how well you live it. And it provides a tremendous amount of security, knowing that you have a well-disciplined life. You're not anxious and fearful, wondering what's going to happen from one minute to the next with all the chaos and uncertainty of an undisciplined life. The point being, if you want to succeed at anything, you have to have more than just a good idea. Now, God has not given us a spirit of fear, so you have to be anxious about this, but of power, love, and a sound mind. In other words, a well-disciplined mind, where we don't let our emotions, whether you're borderline, bipolar, or anything else, depressed, you don't let those emotions control your life. You take control of your life. Devote yourself to, in one small step at a time, disciplining your life. Have a map and a plan. Know your route, where you're headed. Then stick with it until you reach your destination. You enter your journey. What's your goal? Include your spouse if you have one, good friends, a counselor if needed to give you encouragement, help you develop a plan, a support group. They're hugely important. School and training along the way if you think that's needed. Starting a new job maybe, and other kinds of miscellaneous stuff on your way to success. Remember, stay on the route that you've decided on unless God shows you a better way, and don't take side roads or detours. Only take necessary detours to get you where that will help you get to where you're going. Okay. Next, we're going to learn to express emotions effectively, because I guarantee you, if you start out disciplining your life, devoted to God, that devil is going to move right in and bring all kinds of fears and anxieties your way and uncertainties. Oh, you'll start going crazy. But that's the time to do what we're going to do next, and that's learn to express your emotions more effectively as you discipline your life devoted to God to achieve your purpose. Thank you. This is Dr. Brandy Marks, Biblical Licensed Mental Health Counselor in Vancouver, Washington. Thanks for tuning in.